Knows Best.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to Brenna Knows Best. I'm your host, Brenna Berg. Hi, how are you guys? Happy Friday. Hello, let's talk about the most important thing that happened this week. You guys, Maydog got hurt over the weekend, and it's literally all I could think about. I'm not one of those people who's like, I'm a mother, this is my child. But when I talk about this, I probably will refer to myself as mom. Okay, let me just make that clear. But I'm not a psychopath, right? I just care for my little monster. Well, we go to California, and basically I'm going to give you my diagnosis of what happened, and then I'll give you the vet's diagnosis because we took her, or I took her to the vet on Monday when we got back. We go to California, and let me preface, when Maydog is in Dallas, we live in a 900 square foot apartment. She goes from bed to couch, from bed to couch. That is her only movement throughout the day, besides the walks I take her on. But like, the walks are pretty easy. We just walk around the block a few times a day, and that's it. Well, in California at Carter's parents' house, number one, their house is like 2,000 to 2,500 square feet. I would guess, I'm not 100% sure. And also, their walls are so thin. Therefore, like voices you can hear, there's just a lot of sounds. And May, number one, is in a foreign environment, which like dogs, depending on the breed, are, naturally, when they're in a different place, they just don't know. There's a lot of new smells. They're kind of on edge. And that's kind of how Maydog gets. Well, also, there's so much sound. Therefore, like, she'd be on the couch, but then she'd hear, Carter's dad get home and she's running to go greet him. And then Carter's mom is in and out and we're running around and we're in the yard. She was just moving around a lot more than normal. Then Saturday, and I'm going to kind of recap the weekend, but I want to talk about May specifically right now. We go to Carter's grandparents' house in Orange County. Now, their house is ginormous, but they have a dog that is like a retriever of sorts. She has long hair, but she's red. I guess maybe, I don't know if she is a retriever, but she's 3 years old. She's a big retriever looking-esque dog who has a lot of energy. Therefore, on Saturday, May and Sadie are running around. And another thing about our sweet little May girl is May gets so territorial of human beings. Like, she low-key hates dogs. She really does not enjoy dogs. Like, when we come across a dog on our walks, she runs fast. She's out of there. She does not even like sniff at them. She just runs right around the dog and on to the next, just down the sidewalk. Literally every time I run into people and they're like, oh, she doesn't want to talk, or like she doesn't, I'm like, no, we're gone. Like, she's sprinting. She said, get the fuck away from this dog. Right? Well, when she's in an environment with me, or honestly any human, she really, like, this also happens when we get into elevators. She wants to like jump up on the human, but she's like so scared of the dog. Like, if we're in an elevator with a human and a dog, obviously she's like, get that dog away from me, but she wants to like jump on the person. But also, she does not want a dog to get near me. Okay, no. That will not fly. Therefore, like, literally, Carter's grandparents have like this huge, like L couch. I'm on one end. Here's Carter's grandpa. Here is Carter. And Sadie would just like try and walk over to us around the coffee table. May is lunging across all of us. Like, Sadie would try and come to me, and then May's right here. And then Sadie would try and go around. Well, now she runs across me, runs across Carter's grandpa, runs to Carter. Like, she does not want that dog near us. Okay. And then Sadie's like jumping up on the couch. She would get up there, and May just like is freaking out. And therefore, what I'm trying to say is on Saturday, there's a ton of movement. They go into the yard. They're running around. She's just on edge. She's up on the couch, down on the floor, up, down, whatever, right? You get the gist. She's, just moving a lot more than normal. Well, we wake up on Sunday morning and everything is fine. She slept with me. We wake up, I take her out, I feed her, and she's totally fine. Well, we are doing like laundry and changing the sheets and kind of just gearing up to go. Our flight wasn't until 6:30. Well, it got delayed, but it was originally at 6:30. Therefore, we weren't leaving until like 4, or leaving for the airport until 4. Anywho, in the morning, we're going around and me and Carter were changing over the laundry, I think. And May was just like in the living room, and there's like a hallway. I couldn't see her, but obviously she's fine. She's like in the house. She's like, whatever. Well, I walk down the hallway and turn into the living room, and she's standing there and she's looking at me. And immediately I could just tell, like immediately I knew something was off. I don't know if like she had a pained look on her face. Obviously I'm with her 24/7 and I just know her. I've owned her now for like 4 years. She almost looked like in that moment, she was looking up at me, but like she couldn't move her neck. Like I felt she was kind of hunched over and she was looking up at me, but she was fine that morning. And I'm like, what is going on? So I pick her up, I put her on the couch, and I sit on the floor right next to her. So I'm like eye level, if you catch my drift, and I'm petting her, and she just seems like something is not right. Okay. I'm petting her. She can't quite get comfortable. I put her back on the ground. She's like walking funny. I'm like, oh my God. Immediately I'm just like stressed. I'm like, Carter, like something is wrong. And he's like, just massage her. Like, I'm sure her muscles are tight. She's been doing a lot more exercise, whatever. Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm lightly massaging. I'm trying to get her in a good spot. We go about the morning. Carter makes breakfast. We lay down, I think at 2 p.m. to take a quick nap until 3. And then Carter was going to shower. We're going to pack up and then we're going to leave. Carter's mom took us to the airport at 4. We sleep from 2 to 3 in Carter's bed. Because you guys know, in Carter's parents' house or at Carter's parents' house, we sleep in separate beds, which is chef's kiss, phenomenal, literally the best thing ever. I was thinking about before we went there, I see TikToks of people talk about how like their parents are really religious, and even though they're like in their 20s or 30s, their parents make them stay in separate bedrooms. I'm like, that's honestly goals. I would love that. I don't see the problem, which I get it, but like that is crazy. But me and Carter choose to say in separate bedrooms because they have queen beds, and once you get used to a king bed, you never go back. Anywho, we're napping. We get up at 3. We're kind of moseying around, and May is between us, and she's facing the end of the bed, and she's on her tummy. She's like sprawled out. I go and I pet her, and I'm just like, literally, I'm like on and off of tears that day. I just felt so bad. I'm like, something's wrong. I felt so bad that we were going to shove her into this not crate, it's like the little carry-on bag, and she's honestly great in there, like on the flight to San Diego. And I'll talk about traveling with the pup because I get a lot of questions on how we do that, but she does great. Like at first, she used to like vibrate and kind of be nervous, and of course she pants a lot, but again, she's in a different place. She's not used to like all of the people at the airport, whatever, but she's fine. But I knew that something was wrong within her neck or her back, and I was just like, oh, we have to fly home and she's gonna be in this crate. I just was like really stressing. And of course, like as her mother, again, I'm not a psychopath, but like as her mom, like she's hurt and I can't help her and I can't talk to her. I don't know what's wrong. I just was like not okay. Anywho, we wake up. I literally might cry telling this story. It was like the saddest thing ever. We wake up and I lean over and I'm kind of petting her back. And I'm like, okay, May, we need to get up because I needed to feed her and have her go to the bathroom before we went to the airport. And I just wanted to kind of see her move. And literally, you guys, I got in her face and I go like so lightly. I touch her head to just like pet her. Like I didn't want to like, get her up immediately. I know that she's like not doing well. Therefore, I was going to like coax her into getting up. You guys, I like barely touched her head and she yelped so loud. She's like, ah! Like, oh, I literally immediately started crying. I was like, oh my gosh, like I hurt her. She's in so much pain. Like this was the first time she yelped. And I'm like, oh my God. I literally was sobbing. And Carter was like, babe, it's okay. Like clearly something's wrong. And he's like fretting, but he also is like trying to calm me down. And he's like, let's just keep massaging her. Like we'll get home. And at this point, I had already booked a vet appointment for 9:30 the next morning, Monday morning, which even if we were at home, the vet's not open on Sunday, it would have had to wait. But again, like the moving her around, because when I carry her in the carry-on, like obviously it shifts and I'm just like, oh, I hate that she's in pain and now I'm gonna have to move her. Like I just couldn't. I was sobbing. Well, she gets up, she eats, which is great. Like she ate, she went potty, and then we get into the car. She's in the crate already. We're in the back seat and she lays down. So I zip her in there because here is how you travel with a pup. Basically, ahead of time, you have to let them know that you're traveling with a carry-on dog. And American Airlines has a 21-pound weight limit, but I don't think the other airlines do. I think your pup just needs to be able to fit in the carry-on, and they do have specific carry-on dimensions that are okay, which our carry-on is Roverland, is Roverlund. I can link it. It's amazing. It's very structured and I've never had problems. We have now flown Delta, American, and Southwest and have never had an issue with it. American is the only one that looks at the weight, and that's so fucked, but I digress. Okay. We get to the airport, you have to go to the counter and basically just check her in. They take your ID, they look at your boarding pass, and then they give you a little sticker or like a little thing to put on her bag and you're good to go. Then we have TSA pre, obviously. So we go through TSA pre and basically you just have to take her out. I hold her and I walk through the security with her. Okay, this is just how this goes with the dog. And then, you know, the carry-on goes through the x-ray machine or whatever that thing is called. And then you walk through, you're obviously good, and you put her back in and you're good to go. Well, she was laying down. I checked her in and then I obviously had to take her out for TSA pre. And the thing is, before, when she was healthy, like there are times when I try and let her head out as often as I can. Like when we're sitting there at the gate, I'll, zip open the top so she can sit upright and look around. And when we get into the airplane, like they're supposed to be in it. Like you're really not supposed to let them out, but I just open that top again so she can poke her head out, because in the plane, like if it's hot, we always direct all of the air to her. But typically when the plane is going to take off, like they need to be in there. So I kind of have to shove her head down, which I hate doing on a normal fucking day. Like it feels so mean. I'm like, May, and she obviously fights back my hand and I'm like, you know that you need to get in here. And she's just pushing with all of her might. And I do it like as softly as I can, but like when I need to, right, I just kind of have to push her down. Well, I'm like, I cannot do that. Like something's wrong with her neck or her back. I'm like, babe, I don't know what to do. But we got to the airport the same time as we would have for our 6:30 flight. And we go early because we have the dog and you never know how long the line's going to be, so on and so forth. Well, our flight gets delayed. So we're sitting at our gate, or like at a gate across from our gate, for quite some time. And she's sitting up, she's looking around. Everything is good. But then again, at one point, like I just went to touch her head. Like I just went to scratch and she screeched. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But what I was gathering is like once she moves around, she's like, okay. Like if she would get moving, similar to if you have a sore muscle or a pinched nerve, like this is what we thought. We're like, it's a pinched nerve or a strained muscle or something of that sort. Because once she got moving, it was like kind of okay. Obviously it's not, you just get used to it. But it was like, after, for example, that nap that we took, she had just been laying there in the same exact position and I was trying to get her to move and I'm sure it was tight. Therefore, she yelped. Well, anyways, she screeched and then it happened one more time and I'm like, oh my God. Well, I'm like, Carter, what do I do? And thank God, Carter has this trait about him. I have told you guys a million times. It's similar to last week when I told you about the whole parking situation. He is such a, like, just strong and like confrontational, not confrontational, but like he is not afraid to like speak up and like I don't know. He's just a lot different than me in that way. Like, I don't want to cause problems. I want to do everything by the rules, which he does too. But like, we were standing in line and I'm like, babe, I don't want to have to push her head down. And he's like, don't, like, do not do that. She's fine. They will let her on. And if they say something, I will speak up. I will say she's hurt right now. We don't want to have to like shove her head. She's fine. She's like not doing anything. It's just her head poking out. Like, I will speak up. Well, thankfully, they didn't stop us. They didn't say anything. And honestly, everybody loves May and thinks she's so cute. So like, we, get checked on to the, like, when we were boarding, the guy at the gate, he's like, oh my gosh, so cute. And then we get on the flight attendants and they're like, oh my gosh, so cute. And I'm like, thank God. Oh my gosh. On the way to San Diego, you guys, we had the first flight on Thursday morning at like 6 a.m. It wasn't a full flight. Me and Carter and May got our own row. So Carter loves the aisle. I'm in the window and May was in the middle seat and nobody sat there. And it was amazing. Well, we're getting on to this flight and I'm like, please, 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 because if somebody sits next to us, I'm going to be crouched. I want her to have room. Well, again, Carter, and God bless him. Again, I wish I was more assertive. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for, not confrontational. He can be confrontational if there is a confrontation to be had, but assertive. He was like, let's just set May. You go to the window. I'll sit in the aisle and keep her on the seat until we board. That way, somebody will have to ask us to move her. And if the flight attendants need us to put her down, we can. But like, let's just keep her there. I will also, again, he's like, I will tell them like what's going on because we were just really worried about her. Like, I was like so on edge. I was so sad. I was so scared. You guys, we sat outside of our boarding gate for like almost 2 hours because our flight got delayed. It didn't end up taking off until like 8. She sat on my lap the whole time. I didn't read. I didn't look at my phone. Like, I was just so locked in on her. But anyways, we get on the flight and the girl comes over the intercom and she's like, okay, there's going to be like 30 open seats, just so everybody knows, blah, 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 boarding. I'm like, oh my gosh, amazing. We keep May on the middle seat and nobody asks. And then finally boarding is done and we have our own row. I'm like, thank God. So we put her down and like getting the crate, carry-on bag. I don't know I keep calling it a crate, but it's not, it's like a flexible, what it is. You guys understand. It's hard kind of to get it in there because I have like the biggest possible size of the thing because May is 22 pounds. Like, she's littler for a Frenchie, but like, she's not a tiny, they're like 10-pound dogs. She's not like small. Well, we, kind of shove her down. Like, we're just trying to maneuver the big thing. And she screeched once and I'm like, oh my God. But we get her down. We rotate it because you are supposed to push the thing under the seat. Well, we kind of keep it out. We open the flap. And then there's also a flap on the front, which it's all ventilated. One side isn't, but like the two sides are. Well, the front one, like the little square, that has a full zip. So that comes down. Carter's like, let's just put that down. That way she can like stretch out. And if they say something, hopefully we can talk to them, but nobody ever said anything. So she honestly wasn't even all the way in. And again, the middle seat is not taken. Therefore, she's in the middle and we're able to just kind of have it there. Like, really, she was like where your feet are, not like under the seat. But we opened all the flaps. She winced like twice when we were getting ready to take off because, again, she's like in a weird position. But then the whole entire flight, again, I literally, you guys, I was like crying the whole flight. Like, the wincing that she did at the start, like, I just could not. And I could tell that Carter was stressed, but he was like trying to be strong for me. And again, she's fine, but like, oh, I just felt so bad. I'm making her get on this flight. She's hurt. I can't do anything. I can't speak to her. I don't really know what's going on. I just felt so bad. Well, the whole entire flight, she was honestly fine. I think she kind of yelped one time again when she was like repositioning herself, but she just laid out. We had that thing open, so she had so much room. And then we landed. We got in our Uber. We didn't get back home until like 1 a.m. because, again, our flight got delayed at 8, but that's 10 p.m. Dallas time. So it's like a 2.5 hour flight. We got in at 12:30, Ubered back. Thankfully, Love Field is not far from where we live. And then we woke up Monday and I go to the vet. And basically I explained to them what I think what has happened. Of course, I'm like Googling, and I know that IVDD is common in Frenchies, in Dachshunds, like any kind of longer, with little leg dogs. IVDD is intervertebral disc disease, maybe not disease, but something like that. And it's common. I was literally explaining to Carter's mom before she even got hurt that like I was worried about her jumping down from certain couches because some of them were taller, and if there wasn't a like rug or something, I didn't want her jumping down because herniated discs happen a lot for Frenchies. Like Frenchies are known to have like disc issues, and therefore she's 8 years old, which is another thing. And I also have noticed in the past few months when we go on walks, we'll get back, you guys, and her legs are shaking. And I'm like, oh, like arthritis or something, because she's 8. She's not young anymore. She's not necessarily old, but it's like, oh, anywho, I can't go down that rabbit hole. Well, I go to the vet and I explain everything that happens, and the doctor comes in and he's so great. He's a little bit awkward. And I was so hurt because I did see him like maybe a year ago when she had her UTI or maybe another issue. And he was like, I don't think we've met before. And I didn't even correct him, even though I knew 100%, because when I booked the appointment, I picked him because I loved him last time, because he was like, I feel like I would have remembered her coloring because her pattern, her fur is so different. And I'm like, yeah, I was like, we've been coming here, but I'm not sure if I was like, ugh, even though I knew that we had met, it's okay. We're not that memorable. But anyways, he comes in with treats and he's trying to get her to sit, and he keeps moving the treat around to see if she can move her neck, right? He's testing to see if it's like neck pain. And he's like, I don't think so. Like she's moving her neck. But at this point, you guys, we had sat in the lobby and she freaks the fuck out. She pants. She's like jumping around. Like I was holding her on my lap. I literally have cuts on my legs from her nails because she was trying to jump down, but I didn't want like the leash pulling on her back or her neck. And but anyway, so she had been like moving around. Therefore, she seems fine after a while. Like once we got into the vet room, she was like totally kind of normal because she was so over like, excited and freaking out and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? But he like did the neck thing and he's like, nope, I don't think. And then he kind of felt down her spine and there was a spot like right between, he said it must be where like oh, you guys, it's crazy that I was a kinesiology major and like I already forgot, your thoracic spine and then your lumbar. Do those two attach? I think right there, her skin was like pinching. He was like, you can tell this is very tender. He's like, if I had to guess, there's like either a strained muscle or something of that matter right here. And like, that's what the issue is. And he's like, unless we do x-rays or something, which I don't think you need. He's like, I'll give you an anti-inflammatory medicine. That way, hopefully that will go down. But he's like, it could be, first signs of IVDD. He's like, we have no idea. I just want you to know the possibilities. He's like, it could be arthritis. She is 8 years old, but the odds, like from what you're saying, it sounds like it could just be like a strained muscle or something like a skeletal, whatever. We get an anti-inflammatory. They did ask because she hadn't gotten blood work in a while. They were like, we typically recommend blood work every year. I'm like, of course, go and do it. He's like, this isn't going to be for like arthritis or anything, but just her kidneys, her liver, all of that, just like a checkup. I'm like, amazing. Of course, I just want her to be healthy. $655 later. I was so pissed. And get this, Carter's grandfather didn't send Carter a birthday card, and my birthday had just happened. We each got $500, $1,000, and we're like, oh my gosh, thank God, more money for the student loans. Boom, vet. I was so pissed, which obviously I would pay literally my arms, my legs, my whole entire life for this dog. But you guys know how I am with money. I'm like, $655. I texted Carter. I said, remember how we had that extra money? It's gone. It is long gone. Anywho, I'm not going to go into that. We pay $655 because also they did a heartworm test, and then I got the packet of 6 tablets for the heartworm. You take that once a month, which she has consistently taken. Anywho, we go home. I give her the anti-inflammatory medicine. It's just these little tablets. You split it in half. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. I also am leaving. Literally, I'm gone. When you guys are listening to this, I'm in North Dakota. I'm recording this on Wednesday. I leave tonight. My flight is at 7 or closer to 8 tonight. Okay. I'm like sick to my stomach that I'm leaving. Like, I feel so bad. And then I'm putting this on Carter, and not that Carter is capable. This is what made me think of it. I was standing up yesterday and I had the medicine. I'm like, babe, do you want me to cut this up for you? But like, I don't want you to think that it's not cut up and then you give her a half of this, because on the container, it's like, give a half tablet every 24 hours. But I'm like, would it be helpful if I cut this up? He's like, babe, I know how to cut up medicine. Like, I know how to cut a tablet. I'm like, okay, but like, would it make it easier? I'm just like stressing about him because, again, he's a perfectly wonderful dad, and like, he knows what he's doing when it comes to May. And like, yeah, he goes to work, but he's with her all the time. Like, obviously, but I'm just like her primary, and I just want to make sure that everything's in order. And anywho, I was feeling so bad that I was leaving. But yesterday there was a few times where she winced, but that stopped at like 2 p.m. And then today she's been great. Like, she is seeming to be good. She has not exercised. I have not taken her out. She's been just like, I carry her to go potty and I don't let her on the leash. Like, I literally just set her down. I have her go potty and then she's done and she's been sleeping, and I'm trying to get her not to move. I bought these stairs on Amazon, you guys. I bought these little foam stairs, which Carter and I have talked about for so long, because again, I've known this about Frenchers, the disc situation, the getting hurt, whatever. Well, of course, like, once I knew that she was like severely hurt, I immediately was on Amazon. So that came on Monday morning, right as we got home from the vet. I went down, and this is what happened. I went down to get it. I left her, and like, I came through the door, and again, it like scared her, and she winced because I think she was laying there, and I was like, oh, I can't. Well, we're trying to get her to use these stairs. So every time she gets to the couch, which has only been a few times, she sits there like she's going to jump, and I'm like, nope, no. So I like point my little finger, or I pretend that I have a treat, and I kind of like hold it there. So then she'll walk, and she kind of sometimes takes a little leap. Like, she's just not used to it, but I'm going to practice some more with her today. That way she's good, but she's fine. She's on the up and up. Today is a lot better. It is Wednesday today. And I think, the medicine has kicked in, and that's the thing. He told me this medicine will go for 8 days because I have 4 tablets and a half tablet a day. And he's like, make sure she's good. I'm hoping this will help. If after the medicine, once you're done with that, like the week or two following, if she has these symptoms again, obviously bring her in, and then we will have to do x-rays and do other testing to see if it is like a bulging disc, if it's this IVDD, whatever. So fingers crossed that it was just like an acute injury, like hopefully she just tweaked something and it was just like a pulled muscle or like a pinched nerve, and this, no exercise, just a lot of rest, the medicine. Hopefully she'll be better. But other than that, you guys, okay, let's catch up on my life. Okay, let's start from Wednesday, because do you guys remember on last week's episode when Carter called and was like, they just called and I need to go back for this earwax removal. Y'all, Carter gets home. I can't remember if I had the car or didn't. No, I didn't have the car. He picks me up. I go downstairs. We go to a different office, and basically we walk in and we don't even have to check in. She's like, oh, you're the one with the earwax. We go to the back, y'all. Oh my gosh. The person asks, okay, because we're at a different place. These are different people. He was like, did the person yesterday put this, solution in your ear and let it bubble before doing the procedure? And Carter's like, no. That bitch literally just jammed this thing in my ear and like pressed all the water or whatever, the water pressure to get it out. And he was like, oh, therefore, if you saw my story, Carter is laying on this bed and they're doing both ears. They put this solution, which it probably was just like, what is that called? Peroxide? I actually have a friend that their mother swears by it. What is it? Carbon monoxide? Oh, bitch, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like that little solution, right? I actually use it to clean my retainers. I let them soak in there because essentially all those retainer cleaners is like that is what I've gathered. Anywho, that doesn't matter. Well, Carter sits on both sides. So one time he's facing me, and in his ear, they put the bubbling solution and then put a cotton pad. I can't talk to him because he can't hear. He sits there for like 10 minutes. The guy comes in, they empty it out, and then he goes to the other side and he's facing the wall, and they put the solution in and put the thing. And I'm just sitting there watching him, and it's like bubbling at the tips of his ears. Like I can see bubbles because Carter's like, can you see? Like, oh my gosh. I'm like, wow. Right. I'm sitting there. I'm dying. The guy comes back in, okay, takes out the stuff, and then Carter sits there and he's like, okay, on this left ear, I actually can just go in with this tool. So basically, he just goes in with this tool and just pulls out like a huge piece of earwax. And to some of you, that's disgusting. And others would be so fascinated. Like Carter wanted to look at it. He's like, oh my gosh, I need to see that thing up close. Like the guy put it in a napkin and anyways, throws that away. The other one, he's like, I'm going to have to do that solution thing. It's like a spray bottle, but it's so, it's coming out of this really skinny tube. Therefore, it's a lot of pressure. But the guy does it, spray. And then he's like, oh, I think. And then in the water, because you hold this thing apparently next to your ear. That way, when the water comes out of your ear, it doesn't go all over your shirt because Carter's sitting upright for this one. Well, in there is like earwax, and Carter immediately, because that was the one he couldn't hear out of. He literally couldn't hear. Immediately, he's like, oh my God, I can hear. Like it was just the earwax. But yesterday when we had gone, the girl, I don't know what she did. And I don't know, like, of course, Carter was like, we need to sue them. I'm like, okay, you're fine. Right. You're okay. I get it. They definitely did not do that correctly the first time. And it was like really painful. He said this time when they didn't, because he softened it, it wasn't as painful. And like the girl prior said it was going to be a lot of pressure, but he's like, no, that was like the most pain I've ever felt. I'm like, oh my gosh. But anyways, that was Wednesday night. We go home, and then Thursday morning we go to San Diego. Y'all, Friday morning, Thursday, I don't remember. I don't think anything happened. Friday, on the other hand, I wake up and I told Carter, I'm like, can I take one of the cars and like go on a run at Torrey Pines? Because Carter and I, when he was in law school or like when he had time off, we would wake up and we would go hike Torrey Pines. And then you all know when we went on our road trip, I got us that Airbnb in Del Mar. It's like right up the street. We literally could see the water. It was perfect. And every morning we were there, I would go on a walk. I would grab a coffee, go sit by the beach. I'm like, oh, I just love it so much. Anywho, Carter now works, and because we're on Dallas time, he gets up at like 7 a.m. because 7 a.m. there is 9 a.m. our time. So he works from like 7 to 3, depending on if he has something, then it goes later, obviously. And I just sit there, which I've gone on a ton of walks around their, property or like their neighborhood, his parents, but they live very inland. It's not by the water. Like it's gorgeous, don't get me wrong, there's like hills and trees and greenery, but like I've done it a million times. They have a park down below and it's like pretty big that I could run at, but I'm like, it's so boring, like it's just a park. And Carter was like, yes, take a car, you can go have a little morning. Well, Carter's mom the night before was asking me about pedicures, and she's like, do you want to go tomorrow? And she set that up for like 10 or something. Therefore, I needed to be back in time, but I got up at like 6. Me and Maydog did our thing, and I didn't want to take a car until Carter was up and I could speak to him. So I go into his room at like 7, and he's like, yeah, babe, take the car. And honestly, tell my mom, like, if you just want to hang out and do your own thing, like, you don't have to go with her. That's fine. I'm like, no, that would be really nice. I drive to Torrey Pines. And if you don't know what Torrey Pines is essentially like an area. It's right along the water. There is Torrey Pines golf course, but Torrey Pines has like a big hike, and then you can actually hike down to the water, and it's just this nice area. And then right north of it, okay, let me back it up. I go and park at like this public parking space, and when you park here, you walk and then you go up this ramp, and if you go left on this highway, if you just go left, you run right into the entrance for Torrey Pines. It's like open, but then you go up this hill and then all of the paths are there, and and then there's the water. Well, if you go up this ramp and then go right, you also take this path, and then that leads towards Del Mar. And we had never gone that direction. We would always park and then just like hike Torrey Pines, go down by the water, and then drive over to Del Mar and get breakfast or coffee. I never walked that way, if you catch my drift. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Friday. I do my longer runs on Friday, which this one was only 3 miles, I believe. I'm like, I'm going to go this way. I want to go check this out. I want to explore. I've never been here by myself without Carter. And therefore, I park and I walk and I go up and I run towards Del Mar. So I'm going through all of these paths. It's like literally 60 degrees. I'm next to the ocean. This was honestly one of, if I had to say, the top 5 mornings of my life. Like, I felt so good. The air was so crisp. I'm going on a run. I'm like exploring. It really made me miss, like, back in the day, I used to do a lot of like solo travel. Like, I went to Denver by myself. I went to New York City once. Like, I went to Miami. I obviously went to Germany, but I met my friend Nils there. Like, I love just exploring a new place. I would love, obviously, if Carter could go with me, but it just felt so good. So I run towards Del Mar. I make it basically there. It's not like far by any means. It's like, yeah, I ran probably 1.5 miles, and I'm like in the streets of Del Mar. And then I ran back. Then I get in my car and I just drive over to Del Mar because I only had like 45 minutes or an hour before I had to drive back and meet Carter's mom for the pedicure. But I drive on down. I go and get buzzed brew. I'm not really sure. Coffee. And then I go and sit by the beach and I just sit there and I listen to the waves and I watch the surfers and I say hello to everybody who passes. And it was honestly perfect. Like, the whole time I'm like, oh, this is my dream morning. Like, a run, the nice weather, the beach, the water, the ocean. Oh, it was so dreamy. Then it honestly was a little bit chilly when I was sitting there by the water because I did also get an iced latte and that always makes me cold. I go back to the car and I drive back home, and then me and Carter's mom go and get a pedicure. And it was really, really nice because me and Carter's mom honestly haven't had a lot of time by ourselves. Like, there will be moments here and there, but like not going and doing something. And it was really nice because I'm not going to dive into this here, but at the start of Carter and I's relationship, there were some family dynamics at play that were not ideal. And honestly, Carter's mom said to me, she's like, Brenna, like, I've always gotten along with like our kids as significant others. That's never been a problem. But she's like, my first impression to you was like easily the worst of all time because, you know, a family member was going through something and she was like really wrapped up in that. It was a whole fucking mess. Right. And honestly, it was a really bad first impression. I'm like, what the hell is going on in this family? But all is good. And I love Carter's mom. And I always knew that like she wasn't the problem, but she was just trying to appease other people. But it was really nice as we sat there and talked about the pedicure. She honestly, like, she cries a little bit. Like, she's just kind of a more emotional woman, and she kind of like teared up and was just like so happy that we had this relationship. And I was like point blank period honest with her. Like, the things that I would say to Carter, I told to her. I'm like, I'm just letting you know that like this is what it was like to me, and this is how I feel, and this dynamic, I wish I could like divulge more, but I'm just like not going to get into that because it was just kind of, it wasn't that big of a deal. Me and Carter didn't do a single thing wrong. Literally, we were just dealing with somebody else's chaotic energy, and I just told her like point blank just like how I felt, the whole situation. But that was a long time ago now, and everything is great. But this is also why when I talk to you guys about like setting boundaries and like family, like Carter and I right away in our relationship like had a lot of things with his own family that we had to kind of just like figure out. Right. And we did, and everything's great. I love his parents so much. His dad is like, I've explained, he's the most devout Mormon man ever. He's honestly just like so wholesome. Like, I have no other way to describe him. And he'll always like ask me, which I'm like, do not ask about the podcast. I explained to him what it is, but I'm like, do not listen. But he's so curious. But like, you guys, he doesn't even cuss. I'm like, you literally turn on one episode and listen for 5 minutes and he would hate me. Like, he asks like the most obscure questions. He'll be like, Brenna, so like when people write in, like, are they looking for advice? Is it like entertainment? And then I would like answer, and he just keeps going and going and going because anyways, me and Carter's mom, we do our little pedicures, we get back. And then later that day, Carter's dad is a doctor and his Fridays are a little bit lighter, or he can kind of manage it. You know how many patients he sees. I think Fridays he does a lot of paperwork. But we were planning on going to dinner and then we got cookies. I'm trying to think what we did before that, if anything. I don't think so. We went back to Del Mar. Carter was like, let's go somewhere nice. Let's like go somewhere with like scenery. We went to Il Fernando. That is not correct. Basically, it's the third story of this building on Del Mar and it like overlooks the ocean. It was amazing. It was Italian. It was delicious. And then after we bopped over to this other little, I think it's called Paseo, if you know the area. It's a really nice shopping center, but they have like a Viore on the other side, and there's this place called Batch Box. Okay, I think Batch Box, where they have cookies. We all got cookies and then we went home. Saturday, we go to Orange County and go meet with grandma and grandpa. And I hadn't seen them since Thanksgiving, I think. I haven't seen them since we got engaged. And I told you guys that Carter's grandpa was making a big fuss about Easter. But guess what? I walk in the door and guess who gives me a big old smooch on the cheek? Carter's grandpa. And he didn't say a single thing about it. I was like, you were just being a stink to be a stink. But anyways, I give him a hug, smooch, whatever. His grandma was at a beauty appointment and he left like 15 minutes after we got there, but it was right down the street. So he went and picked her up and then she got back. And then we went to Orange is what they call it. Y'all, I'm so unfamiliar. They're in Orange County, or is it Tustin? Actually, their address is Santa Ana. Oh, I don't know. It doesn't matter. We go to Orange and there's like what they call Old Town and it's right by a university. What university is that? Apparently it's like really fucking expensive and it's really nice. What university is in Orange County? Chapman University is like right down the street. Like I saw it when we drove there, but we ate at Old Town at this place called Haven where we've gone before. And then that was that day. And then Sunday was May Dog. And then we came back. Okay. What else? Y'all, right before we left for our trip, me and Carter get a text from our current apartment about our lease renewal. Great. Okay, let me read this to you word for word. Nope, not that one. Here it is. Hi, Brenna. Your renewal offers are available. If you haven't done so, please provide your renewal decision by logging in to your app or online here. Your current lease ends on August 4th, 2025, and we require notice to be given by June 5th, 2025 if you do not plan to renew. Wait, this is not the right text. This is not the one that has the information on it. Thank you, no rush. Did I delete the message? Where did it go? I'm reaching out again. That is not it. Anyways. Oh, it's literally, I just had to scroll up. Okay. The end of your current lease is approaching and we hope you've enjoyed your living experience with us. With your lease ending, your best renewal offer rate is 15 months, $26.44 a month. That is the renewal offer. Our current lease is $24.48, I believe, or maybe it's $44 and it went up $200. $26.44 for 900 square feet. A 1-bed, 1-bath in Dallas, Texas, which means when it comes to, you're paying $3,000. That is actually insane. Me and Carter looked at each other and like, on one hand, I could justify it. I could be like, yep, let's just stay $26.44 because this, that, and the other, but we've already decided we're going to move. We have not submitted our notice yet because it doesn't need to be submitted until June 5th, which means we have a couple weeks. So I'm gone this weekend. And then next weekend, when I get back, we're going to finalize that all. We're going to put in our notice that we're not going to renew, which is fucking crazy, but I'm so excited to move. We still need to narrow down a townhome that we want to live in. I went and saw these other townhomes I told you about last week that were super great, but they were $4,500 a month. $4,500, but it was like a house. Oh, I wish so badly, but I just like cannot. I refuse. And if it were up to Carter, I think he would have signed for them. I think he literally would have applied. We'll figure it all out. That's what we have going on. Oh, and I renewed our car registration online a while ago. This was April 16th. The reason I know that is because I keep looking at the damn receipt, and it said that on April 20th, they sent the renewal sticker. Basically, in Texas, when you renew, it's a sticker that goes in your windshield. That's like how you know that it's up to date. For example, on my North Dakota Tahoe, the plates, you put a sticker on the plates, like on your literal license plates, if that's what that's called. Anywho, it said on the website, and of course the Dallas County fucking website is 100 years old. It said that it was shipped on April 20th. We still have not received it. It's April 21st. And on the receipt, it says, if you don't get this, let's say you get pulled over, if you have the receipt, that can last up to 31 days after you submitted it. But after that, you need to figure it out. Well, it got lost in the mail or something. I did not receive this. I go yesterday to the Dallas County office, and this is downtown, which is a nightmare. Parking, you have to pay. A lot of people, there's a lot of construction. I go down, I come back up, I have to walk across the street. I go in and I say, hi. It's kind of like the DMV, you take a ticket and then they call it. Well, it actually wasn't that busy, thank God. And it's a lot nicer in there than it is typically in a DMV, in my opinion, because it's like a nice big building, right? Well, they call me pretty quickly after I walk up there. I'm like, we renewed the registration on our vehicle, but it never came in the mail. And she said, is the car under you or your fiance? And I said, my fiance. And she said, and you're not married yet? And I said, no. And she said, well, you do not have the authority to do this. I'm going to give you these forms, which gives you power of attorney. He just needs to sign them, the grantor, grantee. I'm like, oh! Why can nothing be simple? And also it's shit like this where I'm like, why aren't we married? Like, it would just make so many things so much easier. Anyways, I go through that. I come back home. I have Carter sign that last night. And I just went back this morning and I said, please, 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 please. I needed a copy of his ID, which I emailed to them, and I was able to do it. It was $650, even though I already paid that the first time. You guys lost it in the mail. I'm not sure why I have to pay that. Obviously, I don't make a stink to them, but I'm just like, this is so dumb. Then, because I used credit card, it was a $2.95 whatever processing fee. Then I paid for parking yesterday, $5. Today it was only $3 because I got in quicker and out. But I'm just like, what? Again, we're talking about literal dollars, but when like I shouldn't be having to do this in the first place. I'm like, what the frick? Anywho, y'all, when we were on the plane, I have this in my notes app because I wanted to tell you guys. Carter had his headphones in, and obviously he's checking on May. He would like feel her. This was on the way back. I had been crying like nonstop. Like, I would just start crying and he would rub my back and I would just like look out the window. I just felt so bad. Well, I look over to Carter. His headphones are in. He's watching something. And I said, am I being annoying? And he looks over at me and he goes, yes. And I said, what? But he was like smiling. And I said it again. I said, am I annoying? And he said, yes. And I hit him on the arm, but again, he has his headphones in. He can't hear me, and he takes out his headphones. And I said, do you know what I'm saying right now? And he's like, aren't you asking if you're going to be okay? Like, he thought I was saying, am I okay? Like, am I? And he kept saying yes. I said, am I annoying? We started dying laughing. He was like, oh my gosh, babe, no, you're not annoying. But the way that I, of course, knew instantly that he couldn't tell what I was saying, absolutely dead. Anywho, now on to the weekend. I want us all to have a moment of silence for me. I want you to be thinking about me in your thoughts and prayers because I have to go home to North Dakota. And that is it. That is what I need prayers for. I really hate that I hate it so much. I really wish I had a better attitude about it. And if my hometown were San Diego, that would be a completely different fucking story. But it is North Dakota. I am so excited to see LaDonna and Gordy. Really, they're the only reason I go home, honestly. I love them so much. I'm going to be with them Thursday and Friday and hopefully Sunday and Monday. I don't really have plans with my dad, which we kind of just go with the flow. And then I have a few dinner plans. I think Friday night I'll see my mom, and Sunday night I think we talked about. But other than that, I'm going to be with LaDonna and Gordy. You know me, I probably won't be on my phone much. I don't like to be when I'm home, and I like to just literally, I wake up, I get ready, and I go to their house, and I sit there all day long. I do whatever they want to do. We pretty much just sit and watch the TV if it's not nice out, because y'all, I think it snowed last night. It literally snowed on May 20th. Did I not just tell you that last week they had a 90-degree day and then yesterday it snowed? What the fuck? Anywho, I thought that this would be a great time to do some North Dakota fun facts. And I want to get one thing straight, because I have met a lot of new people recently, I feel like, at these influencer events. And oh yes, the brand trip, and then this dinner that I had. And every single time I meet somebody and tell them that I am from North Dakota, they go, "Oh, I bet it's so beautiful there." Every single time. And I just want everybody here to not be ignorant and know what the fuck North Dakota is. Never say that. It is literally so flat. The North Dakota state is gotta be, let me see. How flat is North Dakota? I think it's like the fourth flattest state, right? Okay. North Dakota is considered the third flattest state. Ow! Who's above them? Who is literally above them? Wait, top 5 flattest states. That is hilarious. Florida, number 1. Illinois, number 2. North Dakota, number 3. Louisiana, and then Minnesota. What the fuck? Which Minnesota is beautiful. They have lakes, they have trees. We also have trees. We have the Mississippi River, but y'all, I don't know if people think mountains. Like, I don't know what, maybe a few rolling hills. I don't get it. Anyways, let's go back to the fun facts, and they better be freaking good. Wait, or let's do North Dakota unique facts, shall we? I don't give a fuck about the agriculture. Oh, I should have looked this up ahead of time, because these are all going to be so lame. I'm sorry. One of the fun facts, only 1% of North Dakota is woodland or forest. Like, I'm telling y'all, there is nothing here. I always knew that there was a fact about like alcohol. Number 1, it says North Dakota has more bars per capita than any other state. Perfect. And also, get this, North Dakota has a relatively high rate of excessive drinking compared to other states, with around 22.3% of adults reporting binge drinking or heavy drinking. That is insane. Yeah, people love to drink there. We're not going to do that. I can't find a single fun fact, because guess what? There isn't one. However, I am going home tonight. I get in at like 10:30. I'll be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then my flight is Monday afternoon. I'm really just going to see everybody. I haven't been home since December, since Christmas, which is like 5 months ago, and I'm doing my due diligence, and then I'm leaving, and then I have nothing else planned. Wait, let me check my notes app. Ow, I really tried again. I think I might have 2 things in my podcast photo album to talk about. I got a text, you guys, from a friend, and this guy is a trainer at Equinox, or was. Okay, he was a trainer at Equinox. He actually trained my best friend Garrett, who was May's owner. Okay, and back in the day, I was really close with not him per se, but this couple that I know, who the girl was a trainer and the guy was not, but they're married. I used to watch their dogs, and I would hang out with them, and oftentimes Patrick would be there. Okay, he was the trainer. He is amazing. He's so kind. Yeah, that is all. He texts me, okay, because they've all been trying to get together. I ran into the guy not that long ago and we were catching up. Well, Patrick must still follow me on Instagram, and he literally texted me and he said, "Hey Brenna, I'm having so-and-so over at 6 p.m. this Friday for steaks and to meet my new dog. You and Carter are welcome too. No worries if y'all can't make it." He thinks that Carter's name is Carter. I didn't have the heart to correct him. Like, I didn't want to do it over text. I'm like, it doesn't matter. But I'm like, that is crazy. That is actually crazy, which it makes sense if you had no idea, because the people that follow me that knew me in real life, they're not following me because of TikTok. So they don't know, but he literally thinks his name is Carter. I digress. And then the other thing, I don't think I ever mentioned this to you guys back in the day, but I was going through on the plane when this is what happened. I had just my carry-on luggage and then I had May. Therefore, I didn't have a backpack or anything to put my stuff in because you can only have 2 bags when you get on a plane. I gave Carter my book and my water bottle and he put it in his backpack, me thinking that he would just stow his backpack underneath the seat in front of him. Well, no, I learned that he prefers to put that above. And that means we got on the plane when we were going to San Diego and I got made comfortable. I'm sitting there, everybody's boarding. Now we're about to take off. And I said, "Can I have my book?" And he goes, "It's up there, I think." And I said, "Where's your backpack?" He's like, "I put it up there." I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm sitting there until takeoff, until we're 10,000 feet in the sky. I don't have my book. I don't have anything. I didn't download anything because I was planning to read, obviously. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. I was just annoyed because I'm like, "Why don't you have your backpack?" And he's like, "I just don't like to have it because then my feet have more room," which makes perfect sense. But again, here is a tip number 1 to anybody out there. Travel with your partner before you get engaged. I feel like you learn so much about a person when you travel with them, especially a road trip will do, because I feel like also road trips just really bring it out of you, but especially flights. Oh my gosh, how they go through TSA, how they manage everything. Do they manage anything? Do you take care of everything? Do they lift your bags? What do they do on the plane? Does he put your backpack up top and then you don't have a book to read? Anywho, I was going through, naturally when you're on a plane, every single photo in my phone. Okay. And I came across this screenshot and I don't remember if I spoke about it, but this was literally in response. Do you guys remember, obviously, right when I was getting engaged, I was talking about it in Hawaii. I had a good hunch that it was happening, and therefore I was posting about it, and people were excited, and I was excited, right? I posted a story the night that we got engaged, and I said, "Sorry for the lack of updates, coming soon," and I was like cheesing, okay? A girl messaged back and said, "Used to be a fan, but you seem like a super desperate person the way you are hoping to get engaged. Then a hype woman, so hypocritical and immature." I'm sorry. I'm excited that I'm getting engaged to the love of my life. Used to be a fan, but you seem like a super desperate person the way you are hoping to get engaged. Then a hype woman, so hypocritical and immature. Thank you, Kim. I apologize that you feel that way. But yes, I am excited about my own engagement to the love of my life. Isn't that fucking crazy? This is like, I think people understand like hate that people get online, like influencers, but I don't think you really know. And like, it really is damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, I see other influencers get ripped apart for like certain things that like, let's say I don't do, but then you don't get praised for not doing those things. Or for example, I literally saw a mother. She was talking about something and people and I don't believe in child exploitation. Like, if I had it my way, children would not be posted online. I just don't think, like, what is the good that comes from it? You can be a mom and not post your kids. Those are just my thoughts. I don't look down like on people who do it. Well, I don't like look up at them, but I know like on the brand trip, for example, like there were some girls that were like mommy bloggers and like I loved them. They were amazing. Again, if I had the choice, I just like would prefer that children aren't being exploited online, but like that's just my thoughts. Well, I saw a woman who was like posting, I didn't know who she was and I've never seen her again, but she was responding to a comment and was like, you don't, or like, you have kids, you never post them. And somebody was like giving her a hard time that she has kids but never post them. It's like, but then you have people on the other hand that are like, you shouldn't be posting your kids, which whatever you want to believe, but it really is damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's like people will constantly bitch. Like that girl, for example, like I was excited about my own engagement, and that is literally what she said, which you cannot take what these people are saying. If somebody is leaving you a hateful message or comment, like I just know that they are not in their right mind. Like there is nobody in their right mind literally leaving hate comments, and that's honestly how I deal with them. Like it doesn't even bother me because I know that deep in my bones, like I'm just like, what the fuck, like this person is unwell. This has nothing to do with me. Like that comment had nothing to do with me and everything to do with her. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, you guys, let me recap my notes. I think that's all I have. I should also pull up my calendar. Okay, I'm going home. I come back. And then next week, I honestly have nothing going on. Carter told me this morning that he called his friends last night and they want to do a trip to Austin. And I think that would be so fun. Austin, Texas is wonderful. I don't know what it's like to live there, obviously, but to travel, like they have Lady Bird Lake and they have like paddleboarding and they have so many trails, and Austin is honestly incredible. And I don't know why we don't go there more often. My best friend Natalie does. Oh my gosh, Natalie is in Greece right now with her boyfriend at his best friend's wedding. I know the two, they're amazing. They had this crazy, incredible wedding in Greece, and Natalie and Ryan are there for like a week long and enjoying vacation. I'm so excited for them, but they always go to Austin. I think they have friends in Austin, but anywho, I have one write-in and then we're going to leave it at that. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope that you guys still enjoy this. I say this every fucking week because I'm so insecure. I'm like, do you guys like this? Anywho. Okay. Hey, Brenna, I've written in before. My dilemma was that I had a friend that was my friend essentially my whole life, and she hadn't come to visit me in 7 years and never showed up to anything I invited her to, but I did when she invited me. I was military, leaving in Europe, and had a baby, and she still hadn't come. She had messaged me a few times since I returned to the US. She had asked me on multiple occasions, can I come visit? Can I come visit? Blah, 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 blah. When I asked her what the plan was, I'm only saying it like that because we've been over this. If you guys are listeners, you guys will remember this because I remember this. After this, I waited a few weeks and then eventually decided to text her. I said, oh wait, there was a sentence before that. When I asked her what her plan was, if she was still coming or if she wanted to still come, she always claimed that she couldn't because she didn't have any money. After this, I waited a few weeks and then eventually decided to text her. I said, hey, I understand you have a lot going on in life, but if you cannot come to visit, then can we please stop talking about it? You never come and I get my hopes up and it is really confusing. She responds and apologizes, saying she just cannot financially visit me right now. Of course, I completely understand and there's no hard feelings. Now, keep in mind, she lives in Scottsdale, Arizona, and since she moved there, she's begun to hang out with a lot of bougie people. Again, completely fine. That's her business. But Scottsdale is an expensive place to live, shop, go out, to eat, etc. Also, if she came to visit me, she would not need a hotel, rental car, and I would happily pay for all of her/our meals. Now, that was a month ago. A week after that interaction, she messaged me asking if we were okay. I told her I was not upset with her and I just needed to get that off my chest because it was bothering me a lot. She responds and says our relationship means a lot to her and she doesn't want to lose it. Fast forward to this week. She posts a girls trip with her new friends from Scottsdale. She's lived there for a year total. They post a bunch of photos out at bars, the beach, and restaurants in San Diego. Am I the asshole for simply removing her from my socials? I'm honestly tired of being a last choice friend, and that's how it feels. If I text her, it takes her days to respond. We talk on the phone maybe once a year, and again, she hasn't visited me in 7 years, and the only time I've seen her is when I came to her. I just don't understand how you can say you have no money to see your lifelong friend who just had a baby less than a year ago and then just go on a girls trip with these girls you've barely known a year. I'm just frustrated. Am I in the wrong for just unfollowing her because I don't want to see her stuff anymore? I think you are not the asshole and you can do whatever you want. Now, it does sound like, and again, this is like years of harboring probably resentment that you are a little bit like, Yeah, upset, which you have a right to be because she has claimed that she was going to visit you and won't and won't and won't. And then you see her go to San Diego with a bunch of other people. I try not to take things personally, and you never know if somebody covered costs. I don't know. We never know what somebody is going through, but I fully support you removing yourself from her socials or like you unfollowing her 1000%. I've done that for less. Like sometimes I've explained this before. Like I've dated somebody and like I really like their friends, but their friends would remind me of them. You unfollow. Like you can unfollow somebody for any reason. Like if seeing their stuff is going to bother you, unfollow. And I don't think that means you are a bad person at all. I support you. I would just, let that drift away. It is what it is. If she wanted to come see you, she would come see you or at least talk to you about like the logistics of that. And it doesn't feel good to always come to her. I totally get that because it is annoying and like you are spending money and it's not about the money, but it's also like it feels very one-sided. And from what I've read and what you've said, it does feel like you are the one putting in the effort for years and years and years. And you also just had a baby and traveling for you probably isn't as easy, but still like then to see her go on a girls trip and do all of these things. Yeah, that just kind of feels like a fucking to the chest. I get it. You are valid to be upset and you are valid to unfollow her. I have unfollowed people for less. I support you. I would just let that dwindle. It seems to like really bother you and rightfully so, but it's not worth your energy. And I do believe, I've said this a million times, we have friends for seasons and like you can appreciate when you guys were friends and things were good, but like we drift apart. Obviously it's not a priority to her right now. I was going to say you, but I don't really think it's that for whatever is holding her up. It's clearly not a priority and you are putting in all of the effort and that just never feels good in any relationship with, family, with friends, with a partner. And I don't think that's fair to you. And I would unfollow her. Like if it hurts you to see that stuff, unfollow. It's not a big deal. And maybe in the future, you guys can come back together and she can like own up and apologize and just say, maybe she's going through something or I know she just went on another trip. But, I don't think it's probably personal. It's just like whatever she's got going on. But yeah, you are not the asshole at all. And I would unfollow. And that is all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Happy Friday. I hope you guys have the best weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend. I know this is a holiday weekend. If you're going to the lake, if you're going out, if you're going on vacation, be safe, please. Enjoy your time. Enjoy the time off. And I will see you guys on Monday. Okay. Bye, guys.